Blue therapy, Chioma and Paul's episode is a hot mess. It's a hot mess. Hot mess. I need to grab myself some apple. I mean, we need to bite this thing together. Dad, have you watched everything? This story is so hilarious. You don't want to miss what I'm saying. Whoa, guys. Chioma and Paul's session in the blue therapy is everything. For every red flag, I'm eating this apple. Like, I'm eating this apple. You just need to pardon me, okay? How annoying chewing this red apple is right now is how annoying some of the red flags were. I just needed to cool off by just doing this. So you all just have to pardon me. I just have to unwind, release, and breathe a bit before we could dive into this because there is so much to talk about. There's so much to talk about. And I'm so ready to share. I hope you're willing to listen. So just pardon me. I just gotta do this. I just gotta do this for me first, right? Before we do you and them. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm going to be talking about the blue therapy, my reaction to everything that has been happening with this viral trend and why everybody's talking about the Chioma and Paul blue therapy session. I mean, these guys just literally shared what most African relationships are all about, and I'm so excited because I have a lot to say. I'm just going to be talking about what I think we should all learn from this whole thing, this whole hot mess, this whole trending topic, this whole social experiment that we are all opportune to see outside, watch right here on YouTube or whatever channel we're watching on our social medias. And I think it's just an avenue for Black people to learn. I mean, Nigerians especially, Nigerian men and women to actually learn, and I mean Africa as a whole. And this for everybody who gets into that circle of Black people. I mean, we can see so much of our traits being talked about, and I think this is so important that we actually come into we just start talking about these things, because the more we talk about these things, the more we can solve our relationship problem. I am not a relationship coach, I'm not a relationship expert. I actually love to talk about relationships because I think it is the only way for us to thrive as a people, whether it's in business, whether it's in personal life. I love to talk about relationship. I'm not an expert, so don't even think I'm coming here to give you some special guru advice, because I'm no guru. But I'm going to be keeping it real simple, and this is purely my reaction. This is just my candid opinion. I'm not saying what I'm saying is the best or I have the best reviews to give, but I'm just doing what I think. I'm just sharing from my heart, and well, I'd love to hear what you guys think about the Chioma and the Paul's story. It's with what is happening in most of our relationships, and I really get it. And there's so many hot messes I see there. And I'm going to be starting with the intro. In the introduction of this therapy, I mean, I saw a lot of red flags, like the vibe from Paul was so loud that I didn't even miss it. From the intro, I heard him spitting a lot of things. So from the beginning, I saw the red flags. The first red flag was when he said, I think we should just go to a church. Like, that line. Even more people can go for therapy, like premarital preparation, before marriage comes in. Like, people take their time to go for therapy. I think this goes a long way. I mean, let's leave religion alone, let's leave the spiritual part of it alone. I mean, the pastor will just pray over these things, probably counsel you, but some hard facts might not be talked about. I mean, I think this one, it's good that we bring in the religious part of it, but that should be like later on, when it's finalized that you guys are now getting married and it's all, we're getting ready to walk down the aisle thing. Then I think it should be like something that you now do to go into the church properly. But I mean, for somebody who's complaining about so many things in a relationship, I think the blue therapy nails a lot of things. And seriously, I just have to address Paul as brother Paul, when he talked about that he knew that it was going to go south. That was a red flag. Like, there's something about the law of attraction. Once you say these things, the universe listens, and it will automatically happen just the way you say you want it to happen. So those were the two red flags I saw within the first 1 minute. Within the first 1 minute, I already noticed those red flags, and it was already a big turn off for me. And it was even more interesting as the story kept on, we started hearing more about the story, and we were hearing more of what was happening from Chioma. It was more like brother Paul wasn't really sharing; he was just trying to be this. I mean, when he said bloody Denise, I was like, oh my goodness, how are you going to take anything like an advice? How do you take this expert's advice when you're already addressing this person as a bloody person? Like, I mean, there were so many red flags. So you're gonna count those red flags with me. The church episode was a red flag. The It's gonna go south was a red flag. Bloody Denise was a red flag. The Afrobeat drama was a red flag. The throwing away the African culture was a red flag. I mean, Paul has every right to his opinion. He has every right to do as he pleases. But the truth is, I mean, at the end of the day, who are we trying to impress? Paul wasn't ready to unlearn in order to relearn. And I think that is just the big problem out of all this. So I think both partners just need to learn and unlearn. But the basketballs were too much. Like, my head was literally spinning. Like, my head was spinning all over. Like, Paul and Chioma's blue therapy it's priceless, it's eye-opening, and I'm so thankful. I'm so happy it is out there. I mean, it's a social experiment, and it's going to help so many people come to terms with what is their realities are. I mean, I'm so grateful that this team had to come up to share this. I mean, okay, let's just face it, right? This is the regular lifestyle of an average Nigerian relationship. Like, whether you're in Yankee or whether you're here, like, I don't understand. Nigerians in diaspora, do you forget about eating your food when you're over there? Do you think is bush for you to sing whiskey? Like, is it a village thing? I'm not understanding some of the things that I heard there. I mean, we know that life in the overseas is fun, it's crazy, and it's so Western that at some point you might get to forget about where you're coming from. But is that really the scenario? Is that really what it is all about there? Like, is being African a problem? Is being African making you enjoy less of what it is that you have? Please, Nigerians or Africans in diaspora, can you just help us with the answers? Because we need to learn from you guys. We need to learn from the mistakes. We need to learn from the stories, because without the stories, we wouldn't be able to understand what is happening and how to handle some of the situations. So it's really great that it's open. Just let me know in the comment section, if you are Chioma, would you stick in that relationship? I mean, after therapy, and would you be willing to make things work? Would you be willing to make things work? And if you are Paul, would you take your time, take the corrections and try to adjust, so that you can be more pleasing to your partner? Like, with all these things that have been said, I think these two guys are meant for each other. I think they are great. Yes, I think they are great, because the truth is, it didn't start this way. Things just came up afterwards, and there are so many reasons why these things came up. And I think if these things can be addressed, if both parties can, thankfully they have gone through therapy, they have shared their truths. But I think if they will be willing to unlearn certain things and then relearn and apply these things, I think, it can be fixed. But I don't know, man. But if I were the one, the only reason why I'll be in that relationship is if Paul would agree to some of my terms, and then of course I'll have to agree to his. But if he's not changing for anything, then I'm out. Like, so out. I'm going south, like he said. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think. I needed to share about this. I don't know, there's something that is just attracting me to talking about relationships. I don't know if I'm going to do more of this in the future, but for now I'm just enjoying the flow. Let's keep the conversation alive. Let's learn from each other. Tell me what you think about this relationship. Is this something you think would work? If you were in this relationship, would you make it work? Would you be willing to make the sacrifice to make it work, or would you just walk? But here is one of the conclusions I have. This one of the things that I'm going to say about this therapy is, and these two personalities, is that Chioma is the perfect match for Paul. Like she is somebody, there's something about relationships. When people say I'm looking for somebody who's a like mind, like it's gonna make that relationship very funny, very normal. I mean, there isn't gonna be so many, adventure, fun, and all that. It's more interesting when your partners, like you guys, have some kind of, you're from the opposite sides, so there's some kind of balance. I think the only thing that has to happen is Paul has to open up more to Chioma. I just pray that relationship doesn't crash, because I see two people who are in love, but I see two people who need to communicate more, who need to make some adjustments about their lifestyle. I see two people who need to sacrifice, like, put sacrifice on the table and do something for the other person. And that was why I liked what Denise said. She said she gave them this exercise of mentioning five things that the other person has done and five things they appreciate about themselves. I mean, these things are huge, and I mean, it's a big brainer. I mean, but what I didn't get was when Brother Paul said he's sapiosexual. Hello, brother. Like, hi, brother. I'm sapiosexual and I'm very romantic. I know what it is to look sexy, to appear, to be romantic, and to do all those things. Like, I mean, being sapiosexual doesn't mean that you're not good. I mean, Chioma is an intelligent girl, for crying out loud. She's not some dumb chick. Like, she is smart. She's as smart as she's really smart. And so when Brother Paul is saying I'm sapiosexual, hello, brother, you ain't the only person who's sapiosexual. You have to be sexual. Like, I mean, forget the sapiosexual. Of course, it is okay for you to get attracted to somebody who's mentally. I mean, I know Chioma is mentally intelligent. She is smart. Like, from everything she said, she's a very direct person, and she says that she hits it on the nail. She doesn't beat around the bush. I mean, I think that is a plus to the whole thing. So when he said he's sapiosexual, I mean, are you supposed to be having, like, are you supposed to be between the sheets and you're busy having mental talk? Like, I don't get it. I just don't get that part. So please spare us the G, spare us the English of being sapiosexual, because we have a lot of sapiosexual humans right here, and we know what to do at the right time. So that, I'm not buying that. I am not buying it. Don't sell it, because nobody's going to buy. I am not buying it. I'm trying to understand, because I don't seem to understand where you're coming from or why you had to say that. Paul, you need to take a chill pill. Like, you need to get a blue pill. That's exactly what you need, because I mean, all you've been saying, I just don't understand anything. I don't even understand the word you're saying. Like, you just need to go back and go back that girl, man. She is the girl for you. You just have to put down your pride and, I mean, stop being egotistical. I think Paul is just this perfectionist who loves to be, cool, clean, calculated, and he just wants to be the man in the show. So I just think those two couples are great, and I think they need to take a chill pill. I know they are meant for each other. Just take a break from the social spaces. But I mean, I'm very sure that by the time they go back for therapy, the concluding part of this whole thing, it will really be nice, because by then, the emotions is down, and Denise did the perfect job. She was really calm. I mean, and I don't know, but I just feel like Paul wasn't really taking it nicely. He was very skeptical about the therapy. I mean, we all could hear it when he said, bloody Denise, and that was like, that's a red flag. And for me, I just think he just wasn't comfortable, right? And it was even all good. He made everything even make more sense. He made him become vulnerable. He made him make mistakes. He made everything even more glaring, and he made everything easy, to spot. He made us know exactly what the problem was. So, but I think Paul is a totally great person, but he just needs to take a chill pill. He needs to understand that he can't be all-knowing and perfect. I know he already knows this, because by now I know informations, people that have reached out to him. He probably must have been going on live sessions and doing stuff. So he's a great person, and I totally support their relationship. I know they will be great together. And Chioma on the other side, I mean, I feel I see a lady who's been hurt and who just feels like the only way out is just to speak about it and find the solution, and it's a big thing, it's a big step. And I know she's strong, I know she can handle it all. And I know she's gonna see the changes that she wants to see in her man, and her relationship, because it takes a lot to bring all this out in the open. Let me know what you think about Chioma and Paul's blue therapy. If you were Chioma, would you be in that relationship? If you were in that situationship or relationship? And well, if you're a lady, would you stay if you're Chioma? And for the guys, if you bump into this video, please tell us, would you be able to do like change your ways and just adjust, unlearn some things and try to apply the necessary things that your relationship would need to grow? I mean, sometimes you just have to have this kind of talks, because it's from all this kind of things that we learn to thrive and to build better relationships. I have not gone to a relationship therapy, like I haven't, and I think it's going to be a big one. It's a changing game for me right now, because I think this is going to be an option I'm going to be putting up in my future standards for dating and all that. I think it's important, and I think with this, there'll be more truths out there, and we'll be able to adjust and then understand what we need to work with, work for or walk away from. And so I think this is a great one. For some reason, I think Black relationships have to be talked about. I think African relationships have to be talked about, because some of those things we hide them so much, and it kind of just reduces our essence. It just doesn't make us come out to the open and live to our full potential. And I think that the more we share about the stories, the more we talk about this kind of things, the more we can grow together. So all the Chioma and Pauls out there, don't die in silence. Go for therapy if you have to, speak about it if you have to, talk about your relationships if you have to. I mean, these things sometimes need to be talked about so that solutions can be found. And thankfully, we have things like this to help us learn, from people's mistakes, to correct our own mistakes. I mean, there's so much to this story, Chioma and Paul, and I mean, I see strong personalities who are just coming out to find a solution to their problem. And that's just the beautiful part of the story, is that those two people are very matured to look at the problem they have, right in the eyes, and say, we're talking about it. And because they are bold enough to talk about it, I mean, of course, they would eventually be bold enough to solve this problem eventually. And I'm really wishing them all the best. And yeah, thank you all for tuning in. It's your favorite girl, it's your home girl, Julie here, and I'm just keeping it real as usual. Of course, sometimes we just talk about trending topics like this, just so that we could learn from ourselves and, just keep pushing. Thank you all for watching, and of course, till I see you next time, I am Julie Uche. Stay blessed and be true to yourself.